It is 9 a.m., the first Tuesday of June. I wake up and get ready to leave. On my way, I stop at the local store to pick up some essentials. Straight to the flower aisle I walk and pick out 2 dozen roses, 12 red and 12 white. As I proceed to check out, the cashier scans my items, smiles, and asks me who the flowers are for. I tell her that both bouquets are for my girl and that I am on my way to see her right after this. She replies with, "She must be one special lady." I give a smile. I've been very fortunate. She asks how we met, and I give her the simple reply that it's a long story. She looks to her left and then her right, which was her way of telling me that there's nobody else in the store and she has all the time in the world. I look at my watch and realize I have a little time. I start off by telling her it was 25 years ago. I think back to when I first saw her my freshman year of high school. I had always thought she was something special, but never really gave myself the opportunity to get to know her. It wasn't until junior year when I was struck with some confidence and decided to say something to her. I remember walking up to her with not a thought in my mind besides the words, "Don't say something stupid," repeated over and over. She was on her way to the gym for the beginning of the year rally. I called out her name from a distance. "Haley, wait up." She waited for me and we walked over to the gym together. I did end up saying something stupid, but surprisingly I got a laugh out of her. I knew right then and there in that moment when she smiled at me, I had just made the best decision of my life. That smile of hers is something else. It could light up the darkest of rooms. After that little introduction, it led to us talking here and there. Then it turned into me walking with her to her car after school. You could say I was head over heels. I would skip my homeroom just to sneak into her class so we could spend some one-on-one time with each other. I was waking up in the morning excited to go to school just so I could see her during the passing periods. Even though I was falling for her, she saw me as just a close friend. She was still with that boyfriend of hers. They had been together since late freshman year, and I never stood a chance, which I would constantly remind myself of. We had got real close junior year, me and her. We didn't hang out much during the following summer, but she was a cheerleader, so sometimes during my football camp I could see her cheering on the side. I could have watched her cheer all day. Senior year came around, and I will never forget people telling me she had finally ended things with that boyfriend of hers. She was always off and on with him, but I could tell she was upset. I did my best to cheer her up. I tried making a fool out of myself in an attempt to make her laugh. I was quite good at making a fool out of myself. We would go out together with a group of friends, get food, and listen to music. Senior prom was coming around, and my did I want to ask her. I would be lying if I said at the time I wasn't scared. You probably think I asked her to prom and we lived happily ever after. Well, I didn't. I ended up not asking her. As much as I wanted to, she meant so much to me that I didn't want to risk her saying no and ruining what we have. She hadn't been single for less than a couple of months, and I wasn't sure if she even wanted a date. I'd like to think everything happens for a reason, and me not asking her ended up being a blessing in disguise. During prom, she was dancing with her friends. We had hardly talked all night, even though I was dying to try. A slow song came on. It was Selena's "I Could Fall in Love," quite fitting for the moment if you ask me. We looked at each other from across the room while couples paired up with their dates. I knew I wanted to be with her. I gave her a little head nod to come over and dance with me. She was wearing this red dress, and every time I closed my eyes I could still see her in it. I put my hand on her waist and we danced. While dancing, we stared into each other's eyes for the whole song, without saying one word. We didn't need to say anything. The silence was speaking for itself. When the song ended, she gave me that famous smile of hers. I knew what I needed to do. I pulled her out of the gym where we had our first laugh, and I told her I could no longer live with myself if I did not take the chance and ask her out. We went on our first date that next weekend. Before picking her up, I went to the store to buy her some flowers. She told me she liked roses. She never told me which color though, so I proceeded to get her both a dozen red and a dozen white. That night we went to get some frozen yogurt. It was her favorite late-night dessert, and she loved all the fruit flavor with toppings that filled the bowl to the point the ice cream wasn't even visible. We got it to go and went back to her place for the night. With each other, we sat outside by her fire pit eating dessert and talking for hours. From that point on, we were inseparable. A couple months later, we graduated together, and luckily for us, went to colleges not too far away, so we saw each other every free second we had. Like most relationships, we had our fair share of fights, of course, but nothing could ever keep me away from her. She was impossible to stay mad at. During our third year of college, I decided to get down on one knee and propose. I guess you could say it was a little early, but in my eyes, there was no reason to wait any longer. It was nothing fancy. We had been dating for multiple years now, and she had been telling me she was already going to say yes. I was still nervous for some reason, though. I took her to get froyo where we had our first date. My Haley didn't expect a thing. Later that night, we agreed that we would watch a movie. This movie was actually something I had put together containing all of our pictures and videos with each other, while in the background playing the same Selena song. We had our first dance too. At the end of the slideshow, she was already crying. That is when I pulled the ring out my pocket and told her she was my everything. I had both our families waiting upstairs to celebrate with us after she said yes. Would have been quite awkward if she had said no, don't you think? We got engaged in August and married during June of the next year. 2 years later, we had our baby boy Noah, and a couple years after that came my baby girl Sabrina. Just like that, we had our perfect little family. Oh, and don't forget our doggy Copper. The cashier looks at me and smiles. She says that it sounds something straight out of a movie. I laugh a little and then take a look back at my watch and tell her that my wife waits for me and I can't be late. She thanks me for the story and tells me that Haley sounds wonderful. I get back in my car and drive a couple blocks down the street, where me and Haley always meet up. As I walk over to her and I think back to the story and how after having our kids, for a decade we were living our best life. I couldn't have asked for anything more. The closer I get to Haley, the more I start smiling, and finally I sit down next to her. I think about how Haley would constantly remind me to enjoy these little moments. She always knew how precious life was, and that every day was a gift. Well, my dear, I say to her, placing the 24 roses by her headstone, you were a gift that was taken from us far too soon. As I sit here next to you, I know you're listening. For the last 7 years, I have come to this field where you rest every time I bring you 24 roses. 12 red and 12 white, just as I did on our first date. Me and the kids talk about you every day. They are getting quite old now. You told me I needed to enjoy my life, and I am trying. Some days are lonelier than others, but we get through it. I know you look over us and smile. Thinking of that smile lights up my day, just like it did the first time I made you laugh. We may not be together right now, but I know we will see each other soon, baby. Maybe not tomorrow or a year from now, but don't you worry. Eventually we will share another dance. And until that day comes, I hope you know I will keep visiting and bringing you